So, my wife was posting on some Facebook comments, and they're talking about this whole battle between the atheists and their not really nativity scene, but their scene in Madison, Wisconsin, and Christians, and they're going through this debate. And then I hear this famous quote: "Religion has killed so many people, so many, huge numbers, big numbers." So I'm like, really? Do you use that brain inside your head? There's this theory, not really theory, but this phenomenon that if a lie is told so often by so many people, it becomes socially accepted as truth, even though it's a lie. So I'm going to go through the numbers. Let's take a look. How many people were killed in the Crusades? All right, I did a little bit of research, and even conservative numbers, and you can do your own research. I encourage you to take a look at these numbers. About maybe 10 to 25,000 people. Okay, and I would note that that was not rightly so, especially killing the Jews, because the Bible, which is Christianity is based on the Bible, says that we are branches of the Jews and we should not kill them. They are, we are from them. We are grafted in. Jews are God's chosen people, etc., etc. So that's split, between Muslims and Christians, about 10 to 25,000. Let's go big. Let's say 50,000. Let's double it just in case the numbers are off. Now let's do the Inquisition. Now I couldn't find really good data on this one, but considering the time period and the world's population and all the things that occurred, let's highball it. Let's say 1 million people. Let's say 1 million people were killed by the Inquisition. Now it's probably a lot lower than that, but let's just say 1 million people. Okay, so we're at 1.5 million people killed by religion. That's a big number, isn't it? So let's take a look at the reverse now. How many people were killed by the non-religion? And I'm not just talking about general deaths that were that were done in not the name of religion. I'm talking about things by governments that were anti-God, anti-religion, and deaths that were justified by anti-religious thinking. Okay? We'll do the big one first, and then we'll kind of filter down. So, you know what I'm going to say. Hitler. Yes. Let's take a look at how many people Hitler killed. Now, some people say that Hitler was a Christian or a Catholic. Bold-faced lie. He used it, and he used his influence to try to gain people, but there was absolutely nothing that would say that he was actually a Christian or Catholic. In fact, most of his propaganda, especially towards the Jews and the blacks and the gays, which he killed, so keep in mind that, were because they were inferior races, and they were ruining his Armenian race. It was all based on evolution. Darwin had a very big effect on Hitler. In fact, some of the people around Hitler, I forgot the lady's name, but she also found Planned Parenthood and eugenics, which is the killing off of people that aren't deemed as superior. So Hitler saying my Armenian race, the Jews were inferior in propaganda videos that show like the deformed Jews or stuff like that. So they wiped them out. How many did he kill? Well, I took a look at some charts, about 6 million. So right off the bat there, even with Hitler, 4 times the amount of faith kills. Okay? Now let's take a look at some other ones. Let's take a look at anti-government or anti-God or government things, like Marxists, communists, things like that. USSR, and I looked at some numbers, and I didn't really believe them because they're pretty high. They're up like multi-tens of millions of people. So let's lowball that. Let's say that even... Let's say for the USSR that, let's go 5 million, okay? And no, let's go 1 million. Let's just do 1 million because, 30 million, which is one of the things, and 40 million is another. Let's do 1 million just to lowball it. I don't want to play favorites in this video. So say 1 million people direct deaths because of a communist government, which of course communists that there is no God, man controls, and of course they can do whatever they want because, it's the community, communist, stuff like that. So we're at 1 million there. Communist China murders, and it's a very anti-God, that the government is God, Mao Zedong and stuff like that. They estimated over 1 million murders, direct murders from that type of government and system where, government decides and man really has no value because we're just evolved apes, and if you deem that you're not going to be a benefit to society, well, we're just going to kill you off, or if you don't agree with the government in power, we're just going to kill you off. So there's that. Then, what's that one Cuba guy again, sweetheart? Fidel Castro. Yes, Fidel Castro. Everyone loves little pictures of Fidel Castro. It's like, yay! Wait, no. I'm thinking of the other guy. That is, no, it's the Fichi. You guys know. He has that picture with the little bandana, and everyone always wears his picture, but doesn't really. He was a mass murderer. But anyways, I'll try to remember his name. But he killed people. He gunned down people as well because there's a regime and there was no God. And pretty much said, I can do what I want because, again, we're all just evolved apes. And we're not even going to include abortion because you guys don't always believe that, life in the womb or whatnot. So, if life is in the womb and abortion, which, life isn't sacred because there's no God and all the eugenics and stuff like that would be many, many, many more million. But we're not going to include that because that would just make this entire thing ridiculous and just totally bias the results. So let's take a look at what we have so far. We have about 6 million, that's just the Jews. Don't forget all the blacks and other things that were killed by Hitler. We have about 1 million with Russia, even though it's probably more closer to 10, 20, 30 million people that were killed off because they weren't of any value because, I don't want to, these people don't agree with me or I want all the resources in here. So that, okay, we got China with another million. We got all the different people gunned down and those things. And we're looking at 1.5 million, which is an extremely high ball estimation of, especially with the Crusades, which is actually only about 50,000 at most. And I raised it up to 5,500 just for kicks. And the Inquisition, which couldn't even get really that close to those other numbers because the population just wasn't even there. And again, the Inquisition wasn't rightly so. In fact, it was more a not God follow. They used religion to to gain their forces, but they actually didn't allow people to read Bibles back then because they wanted to maintain power. Where everything against Christianity says you don't do that. So I guess it just doesn't really. So anyways, we have 1.5 million highballing, and over here we have about 8 million, and that's a lowballing, severely lowballing it. So what has really killed more people? Is it faith, or is it evolution and socialist, communist regimes? I'll let you do the research yourself. Go ahead, go online, just type in things like how many people actually died in blah, 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 like Crusades or Inquisition, and how many people actually died in communist Russia, or how many people did Hitler kill, and do some research. Take a look at the numbers. But if anyone wants to say that faith has killed more people, let's prove it. Give me some solid data, because so far it seems like everything that's against God tends to go more the side of, we can just kill people because they're just apes, evolved. And some are less evolved than others. Like I said, Jews apparently are less evolved than the Germans.
Jews are more apey.
They're more apey, yes, apparently. So, and again, I would argue that if they were true Christianity, and faith. No, there are some faiths that are very dangerous. Islam has the thing that if you are a Muslim and you go away from Muslim, if you're in a Muslim country with Sharia law, you're going to be killed. Adultery, homosexuality is all stoned and killed, which I find really odd that Hillary Clinton and other people are pro-homosexual and then they want to also support Islam, which if you read Sharia law, says right there that homosexuality is to be stoned. And, it just doesn't make much sense to me.
At least Christianity is loving towards homosexuality.
Yes, and as much as you people think that we hate homosexuals, we don't. We hate homosexuality because it's a sin. But it's no different than pornography and masturbation and all the other sins that we also commit and are guilty of, and by the grace of the Lord are forgiven and continue to try to not do those things. But anyways, that's my rant. So I'm going to stop right here. But yeah, if you're a Christian, you hear that, just kind of bring up the facts, bring up the numbers, do some research. Take care. But that just kind of frustrated me. So, all right, I'm done. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy New Year.